It's in the chat.
I have no idea who the hell that is.
No,
if anybody knows who 50 Shades Avatar is, post it in the chat. We're trying to figure it out. Apparently, he's an old school boxer. You couldn't go simple and put like a recognizable face in there, like another famous.
No, I couldn't. I don't.
Like a Lucky Charms guy would be appropriate.
Yeah, the Lucky Charms dude, right?
I seem to have lost my. I'll have to come back in because I seem to have fucking Riri's. 30 seconds in. All right.
No, one F-bomb down.
Man, you're getting. Whoa. Mute. What happened?
Yeah.
What happened there?
Crazy feedback loop.
Unmute. Okay, well, no, he came in with another login. Did you fix it, 50?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so you guys figure out in the chat who 50 Shades Avatar is, because we're lost. I guess we're all too young, including myself, so that's really going to date 50.
Fucking hell. So if I put up a picture of Napoleon, you guys be, sorry, I wasn't around then. I don't know who that is.
Is that the original Lucky Charms guy, 50?
Yeah, it is the original Lucky Charms. Actually,
the
original Lucky Charms was Canadian. He only drank Timmy Hortons and apologized to everybody.
So it's Canada Day weekend here, if you guys don't know. So we're celebrating Canada's independence. But personally, it's embarrassing, for me to state that I'm Canadian. So I just tend to avoid it. I don't make any announcements. When Canada starts voting for a respectable leader, then I'll start offering some support for this crap. But until then, let it burn down and have a beer. Who cares? How you guys doing today?
Doing well, you?
Yeah.
How's everything up in Canada?
Yeah. Do you guys want to hear something funny? I just got some intel on dating apps, because both of you guys got banned recently on dating apps. Same one?
And unbanned. Same week.
Oh, and you got back in?
I figured out workarounds.
Okay, cool. Moff, did you get back in?
No, I got banned from Bumble like a year ago. I tried a couple of different things, but they would always figure out a way to re-ban me. So I was able to get it back in for like a day, and then I was kicked out.
So
I use DuckDuckGo, Mexican cell phone number, and throwaway email address on a subdomain that I haven't used in years. That got me in.
Okay. So this is the power of the 1%, right? I mean, we have all kinds of guys in the group at this point, and right now we got a mole that's working in one of these swiping apps. I'm not going to say which one, and I'm going to try to keep it as vague as possible, but he was in a company-wide meeting. They spend, believe it or not, more than 60 to 90 minutes just talking about woke agenda and what's trending today, and whether it's Ukraine or Roe versus Wade or whatever it happens to be, and how to integrate that into the app with some rainbow-colored flag banner or something like that. So if you guys don't know, and I mentioned this in my book, by the way, I tell you guys flat out, the dating app is for the match. Open, your connection, get some dialogue, and then get their number and get off the app. Most guys don't do that, though. Most guys are sitting there rambling away on the app, trying to build some sort of, rapport, hoping that she's going to ask him out, which never usually ends up happening, because women get super frustrated with guys that won't ask for the number or ask them out. But every single thing that you guys exchange message-wise, even if you block, even if you delete, even if you unmatch, still remains on their server. So at any given time, they can go back to a conversation that Moth had 18 months ago with such and such chick and pull that up. You should not be giving them any sort of information on that app. It's to match. She expresses strong interest, a little bit of, open rapport. Hey, I'm super busy. I don't spend a lot of time here. What's your number? Let's set up a date in the next couple of days, and then take it off there. She's either going to give you her number or she's going to give you an excuse. If she gives you an excuse, she doesn't have genuine burning desire for you. It's maybe indifference, or she's just looking for attention or like a time filler, at which point you unmatch and you get rid of her anyway. So a little bit of intel, for you guys there on the inside from one of my boys.
Girls will even say in their profiles, no pen pals, please. I mean, when women are sick of it, you're not supposed to do it.
Yeah, don't be a simp. Don't waste your time. Like, there's a lot of dudes that simp for dudes now too. It's just getting stupid these days. All right. So what's on the agenda for you guys this week? And you've got, on the American side, you've got the July 4th thing happening on Monday?
Yeah, it's Monday. Yeah, we get like a 5-day weekend or something for one of the clients I'm working for, which I wasn't expecting, because when you're abroad, you forget about holidays. Like, oh yeah, you're not working till next Wednesday. I'm like, oh, all right.
Nice.
So apparently it's a big deal.
You still in El Salvador?
I'm in Panama right now.
Okay, moving around.
Yep.
Moff, what are you doing this weekend?
I'm in Denver this weekend. I'm in Denver actually the whole week from now until Jackson. So
Are you hanging out with JC?
We might see each other. We might not. He's got he's got his daughter, so we'll try to figure it out. And I've got a lady friend that I'm here seeing as well. So yeah, I'm staying at her place for the week and then heading up to Jackson. But we're doing a weekend thing. We're gonna go like do some hiking, do some stuff, see Garden of the Gods, all that kind of shit, and then we're gonna do Denver the rest of the week.
What's Garden of the Gods?
It's like it's I don't even know. It's like a lot. There's like a lot of hiking. It's a big sort of like nature reserve outside of Denver. We're doing like Pikes Peak today. Like as soon as we leave here, which is like a huge 14,000 elevation foot elevation mountain. So yeah, it'd be a good time. Get outdoors, get out, and celebrate our independence. I guess whatever the hell that means.
Yeah. So to that point of Jackson that we were talking about earlier, I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to get out of Pearson Airport and make the weekend at this point. I gotta call the airline to find out what their contingency is. But from what I'm gathering from Twitter posts and from other people leaving Toronto right now, like my brother was telling me yesterday, he's got this plate that was trying to fly out on Thursday. Flight was delayed 24 hours. And even the flight that she was supposed to make yesterday was delayed another 3 hours. I've got a connection in Chicago to make it out there. So I don't know, like at this point, I got to find out what the airline's plans are for departure and whether or not they're leaving on time. I'm not even sure which one it is. I think it's United or American or something like that. It's definitely an American airline. But on the Twitter feed, like Pearson's, like here, this guy, Brian Lilly, looks like he's part of the airport. It says, yesterday there were 337 delayed flights at Pearson, 61 canceled. This is all because of Trudeau's bullshit with preventing people from working at the airport unless they were vaccinated. So a lot of people either got laid off or they quit their jobs or they didn't return to work because they just, refused the jab. And they haven't been able to come back since, apparently, or they're having a hard time rehiring people because these guys are like, F it, I'm not going to do this for a living. I'll find something else. And they've either created their own business or they moved on to something else. Yeah, I got that too, Chris. People said fly from Waterloo or London. And ideally, I think the best thing to do is to drive across the border and fly from Buffalo or Detroit or whatever's close to Sarnia. But I have a rally to make next Wednesday, and there's like a day between the two. So I got to figure it out, and hopefully I can hash out the details and still make it. But I'll let you guys know.
Is it just Canadian flights or all North America? Because the other day my family texted me asking like, oh, like your flights are interrupted. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like flights in Mexico run, like it's one of the only things that's ever on time there are their flights, and they never get canceled.
No, as far as I understand it, it's mostly just Pearson Airport, which is the main airport in Canada. Because people are saying that Waterloo and London, which is a few hours, like 3 hours drive out of Toronto, are still working reasonably well, but they don't have good flight, resources in those airports because they're small, like regional airports, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll figure that out.
It's the same lady who takes your ticket, that meets you at the gate, that serves you your soda in flight, all that good stuff. One of those little puddle hoppers. Yeah, fun.
Exactly. They've got one runway and it only works when the wind's blowing over it. We'll see. Yeah. Yeah. So what else is on your minds this week, boys? What's happening, man?
I went to see Top Gun Maverick last night.
Awesome, right?
How was it?
Fucking brilliant. It was what a movie should be. Highly, highly entertaining. It was great. It was, as I say, if you grew up in the 80s and you liked your BMX and your metal and all your friends smoked, go watch this. It's phenomenal. There's no message in the movie. There's
a little bit of wokeness in it, but not that much. I mean, we've got Tom Cruise, who gets with a single mommy.
Well, okay, yeah, but there wasn't any transgender 200-pound fucking pilots who drove a fucking recycled vegetable oil F-18. Okay, so I was okay with that.
Yeah, but they did. They also introduced a female pilot into the squadron, which they didn't have in the other one, which I suppose is probably representative of the current Air Force today, where you get 20 of them and there's one chick in there.
Well, there was an Apache pilot in Afghanistan, and the Taliban referred to her as the Angel of Death because she was fucking off the hook for killing Taliban. But that's just me balancing things out, playing devil's advocate.
Yeah. How is it traveling around the States right now, Moff? I know you've been flying around. Like, are the flights on time?
Yeah, I mean, I was delayed yesterday because of weather, but I'm not seeing anything crazy where I am or anything about delays. I mean, I know it's happening. I know there's pilots that are going on strike. They're demanding like higher pay and things like that. But yeah, I've been relatively unaffected. I took a pretty big pause on traveling the last 2 months, and now I'm on the road for the next like 2 weeks. But nothing that I've seen so far.
Has anybody figured out who that avatar is of 50?
I think Jack Dempsey. They put it in the chat.
Jack Dempsey.
We have a winner.
There you go. There you go. Could make it simple though. Couldn't be Colin Farrell. Couldn't be an MMA fighter that's famous.
I do like.
Colin Farrell doesn't drink anymore, so I can't have that.
He doesn't drink anymore since when? Like, how long has it been?
I don't know. I think, Dumpster waking up at 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning and having his like 500 plate walk out of his apartment on a mid-afternoon on a Wednesday was kind of, I think he had a bit of a wake-up call.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Somebody was asking in the chat about what did you guys get banned for? I guess they're talking about the dating apps. You guys know what you guys got banned for on the dating apps?
Oh, I do. Yeah, it's a great story.
Yeah, tell the people.
Tell
the people, they want to hear it.
All right. I've told the story so many times, trying to figure out where to begin. So I got banned from Bumble about a year ago. I matched with one girl and we went out once. Then we basically just became friends with benefits. And we saw each other for a couple of months. And along the line, she started to get more clingy. She started to get very like in my business about things. She wanted to text and talk all the time. And so there was one night where I was actually with another girl and my phone was like across the room charging or something like that. And I went up to like go to the bathroom or get water or something and get my phone. And then I see like 15 unread text messages from this girl. It's like, where are you? Like, what are you doing? Why aren't you answering? Like, you're probably with another girl. Like, why aren't you texting me back? Like, this is really annoying. You need to text me. And then immediately I was just like, hey, no, this is not, we're done. Like, that's it. Like, yeah, this was fun, but like, I'm not putting up with this. I'm not going to even entertain this whatsoever. Like, we're just not going to talk anymore. And, she threw a fit, obviously, and I had to block her on a number of things. She got to the point where she was emailing me, DMing me on like LinkedIn. It was wild. So like, I finally blocked her on enough things that I didn't hear from her anymore. The next morning I matched with another girl, started chatting, got her number, made a date for that night. And then we were chatting a little bit more throughout the day, which again, this is not something you should generally do. But she had a high level of desire, it seemed. And so I was kind of entertaining her and that was fine. And then all of these sort of similarities between the second girl and the first girl started to add up. Between they were from the same place in Connecticut. They had the same area code from their phone number. They were both on the cheerleading squad, like Travel USA team growing up. They lived in the same very specific area of New York where only a couple of hundred people live, maybe less than 1,000. Very niche, very specific. And so it even got to the point where she texted me like, oh, I just ran into this little blonde girl with this Australian Shepherd, which was the first girl. And then I'm like, okay, like the jig is up. Like you can stop catfishing and pretending to be someone. This is like really pathetic. And the second girl goes, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, what do you mean? I was like, yeah, like I know that you're this person and that like you can stop. And she was like, wait, are you telling me that I just ran into that girl and you know who she is? And then apparently this is all true. The second girl was an absolute real person. They had lost touch, I guess, a long, long time ago. They grew up hating each other, both of these women. And so the second girl goes, oh my God, I didn't even recognize her. She was such a bitch in high school. Like, I can't believe you went out with her. And I'm like, okay, like relax, like no big deal. And then what got crazier is that she had gotten her number when she ran into each other. They had a conversation or something like that. And all of a sudden, the second girl starts sending me screenshots of text conversations she was having with the first girl. And it was just like the most diabolical, like hateful shit. Just like talking about a very serious medical condition she had in the past, saying things like, I can't believe that he would go out with you. Like, I'm going to bang him tonight just to make you jealous. I know that he doesn't talk to you anymore. Like, we're going to go out and then I'm going to take him home and this and that. I was like, hey, can you like leave this girl alone? This is not a big deal. Like, I'm not talking to that girl anymore. Like, why are you doing this? Like, just leave her alone. And she just wouldn't stop and she wouldn't stop. And then it was just, she was almost like, oh, hey, are you proud of me? She was sending these screenshots of her just talking ridiculous shit to this girl as if I would be like cheering her on. Like, yeah, like awesome. You tell her. And then I basically just stood her up. I was like, there's no way I'm going out with this person. There's no way I'm going to go out and take her out. And then I stood her up. I didn't meet her out. And then the next morning, I woke up and tried to log into Bumble and I couldn't get in. And you usually don't log out of dating apps. You usually just stay logged in. And then about an hour later, she texted me and she goes, yeah, like, that's like, are you banned from Bumble? Or like, did you have problems getting to your Bumble this morning? Because I reported you. And that's like what happens when you stand people up. You shouldn't treat people like that. And that's the end of the story. But it got even crazier. Eventually, these two girls ran into each other again. Cops got called. They were like getting into fist fights and stuff. It was a whole mess. It was unbelievable. And I'm the one that got banned.
Garden Tool's mad, right? What about you, Jaron? Did you figure out why you got your ban on it?
No, they don't ever tell you unless it's the case like Moff where the girl actually tells you, hey, I reported you, then you won't ever really know. For mine, like I just logged in, same thing Moff said. I have it in a separate browser. I open it up. It's always there. I usually use the desktop version because it's a lot quicker for texting. So I did a video the other day as far as like kind of boring, but walking through the community guidelines and speculating, well, maybe I did this or maybe I did that. But like Moff said, girls will usually tell you if they're going to report you. It's how they feel like they can yield some power, some sort of power over you, whether it's
like cancel culture. If I can't have them, nobody else can. So I'm going to take them off the app, right?
Well, it's ridiculous because it's such a pain in the ass to redo it. Like it only took me a couple of days to get back on. I had to spend a few days researching exactly like how the algorithms work and what they ban you for and what to look out for. And then I was able to get back on the first time and then got shadow banned immediately on Tinder. And then my Bumble got rebanned. So then I had to like take it another step further to make sure that there's absolutely no way of tracing me. Use like different name, different birthday. I mean, not lying on the name, but people give me nicknames all the time and got back in there. Now I'm able to get into both of them without an issue. But Bumble, same thing. I got banned. It was like last October. It was actually when Facebook had that outage for whatever it was, and the internet was all blowing up about it. And then after that Facebook outage occurred, I couldn't log in anymore. So I figured it was something wrong with the single sign-on, not realizing that I had gotten banned. They never sent me anything. Of course, they never stop your payment, so you have to log into your app store and figure that out.
Yep.
And then they wouldn't stop it, so I kept reaching out to customer service. Then I had to give them a chargeback, which will really flag your account because I'm sure they don't want that happening either. So it's really just a pain in the ass more than anything. But I have heard I've had girls threaten. It's funny. I've had girls on Seeking threaten if they're like, because you get a whole mixed bag of girls on there. Like typically I'll search for girls that are new, like in the last few days on there, especially in cities that have higher volume, like Mexico City. Panama is actually, it's not that good on the dating apps. I'm doing better out and about. I'm here with the girl from El Salvador. So last night we went out and then I was just opening girls in real life. Much better success here. But in Mexico City, it's all dating apps. There's so much volume there. So I'd get girls on like Seeking, and most of them are really cute. A lot of girls don't know really what that app is for. They'll get on there like, oh my God, guys are offering me money to hook up, and then they get off there pretty quick. And then you have girls that have been on there for like 8 years. Well, those girls are what we call pros in the space. So if you piss off a pro, if you piss off a pro, then she'll threaten to report you. But I've been threatened to be reported on Seeking so many times, but it's like $100 a month, and I don't think they're going to kick people off anytime soon. So I just kind of laugh at that.
I wonder if guys have any success, or if they ever do it, where they report catfishing, like, she was 50 pounds heavier than her pictures, or she was 10 years older than her pictures. They probably don't take that.
They don't give a shit. They don't care. That's the thing. Like, that's why there's no appeal process for like banning on these apps. Like, they don't care. Like, you can't contact anybody.
Kangaroo court.
Believe all women. Yeah.
There's no way of getting to the root of it.
it's all like wokeified people that
Yeah,
work
it's
on
all
these dating
preventative
apps,
measures.
by the
and
way,
it's like
according to
they'd
my
rather
source,
just
like
yeah,
like
they'd rather just
18 out of 20 employees that are on a Zoom call are like purple hair, you know,
maybe
typical avatar.
if you do get a vibe from a chick, just block her way before she gets a chance to ban you. But it's really just an extension of hell hath no fury. The only ones I've ever reported is if you're going through and you're swiping and you'll see the same damn picture and they'll have code words in there like massage, IG, they'll have the IG link. And I'm just like, just piss off. And, 10 of them come up in a row, you just start reporting them. But,
fake Chinese accounts too. I see a lot of those. It's always the same chick.
Oh, the fake accounts are hilarious. Her name is Stacy from Wisconsin, but all her pictures are from Sichuan province. No, it's hilarious.
Yeah,
and it's always the same chick, no matter where I go. And then you walk outside, and you're like, no one looks like this where I live. In fact, no one looks like me. So there's definitely not any Chinese people here.
Do you get in Latin America? Do you get catfish? Like, are they like? Is that part of culture like it is in North America?
Not so much. I mentioned, I think the other day in the Signal chat or one of the groups I'm in, I've had the phenomenon happen lately where the girl shows up hotter than she is on the app because she's a young girl. Maybe she doesn't have the newest cell phone. Maybe the lighting's not that good. So I'll be on the fence. I'll do the FaceTime thing like, oh, she shouldn't have any makeup on. She looks all right. But like, oh, it's Wednesday. I don't have anything going on. She's coming straight to the house. Why not? And then she shows up. I'm like, God damn. All right. So I've had that happen a few times. The reverse catfishing, I suppose you could call it. But traditional catfishing, not so much.
I got this in the chat. It says, hey, Rich, ever plan on making public appearances? I'm assuming you mean like these events. And I've made it clear that I don't do anything tied into the Mano Swamp. I don't work with retards or people that work with retards. So that eliminates, like a good chunk of invites that I've gotten on that side of the scale. I do have an invite for the fall to do an event in LA, which I'm considering, which is not tied into that at all. And it's more on the business side. So I'll let you guys know if I have any publics, but as far as any public appearances, I do it with my crew, man. I mean, if you guys want to meet up and you want to join a group of like-minded men, then get into the community. It's pinned in the top comment of all my videos. That's where I spend my time. I got loads of guys in that group, and they're vetted. They're good. Good crews. But I mean, if you run into me in the public, say hi. Like I run into people all the time that are just, hey, watch your stuff, read your book, I'm thankful. Just don't do it when I'm like sitting down having dinner with people. Like, don't come and ask to take a picture or something when I'm having dinner. That's not cool.
I want to I've seen a lot of people in the chat saying dating apps are a waste of time.
I saw that too. Yeah.
Too much BS.
Like, if you don't know how to use them, right?
If you don't know how to use them and you don't know what you're doing, then you're probably right. But I mean, it's usually older guys that are talking about this that don't either live in the dating world that we do anymore, didn't grow up with it. I mean,
I lay out the framework in my book in a chapter. It's not difficult to add it to your roster and get some great opportunities. To date some hot women, and some of them are totally fine to get into a LTR with. If that's what what you're looking for. It's just, if you're having a bad experience, it's because your value is either not high enough or you're using it wrong, or it's a combination of those two things. I mean, I tell you straight up in the chapter in my book on how to use dating apps, don't even bother if you're like a 6 or 7 out of 10. You're not going to have a good experience.
Especially if you want to date younger women. I mean, especially, everyone, 32 and under is on some sort of dating app.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
They're spoiled for choice.
It's an inbound pipeline of potential. And like these girls, like they'll come over pretty quickly. A lot of guys don't know how to set it up like a sequence. So I view mine like a decision tree logic. Usually my original question was like, hey, they're staying out of trouble, or hola, te estás portando bien in Spanish. And that puts them on a yes or no decision tree. If it's yes, like, yes, I'm staying out of trouble. Oh, let's change that. Then she'd usually ask, oh, he, what do you propose? 420 snacks and snuggles. She'll either say no, conversation's dead, or she'll say, okay, cool, and then drop you her number, or I drop her my number and my Instagram. Or if you go on the no train, like, hey, they're staying out of trouble. No. Oh, great, let's get into something together. I drop her my number. She texts me. She's right over the house. But Moff and I talk to a lot of guys.
You're already too far ahead of 99.99% of guys. That's what I'm saying. Like, most guys don't know how to set up a dating profile, and most guys don't get results. They don't even get people looking their way and matching with them. So, I mean, like, I don't even agree with this sentiment. Dating apps are bittersweet. This is another comment that just came up. it's an easy smash, but turns most girls into hoes. So hard to find decent LTRs. I don't buy any of that at all.
Yeah, that's not true.
This is nonsense.
Everyone is on dating apps, so you need to put your brand out there to have a chance on the dating apps.
Jaron, have you had your chats flagged? Like I've been chatting with girls, and you know, when you get an instant report, things kind of get hot and heavy, and there'll be a thing pop up, and it'll say, "Hey, take it easy there," you know, like, if you use any,
they will flag your speech. Yeah,
they'll flag your speech, so they have AI reading your chats. So like, if she says something to you, like I'm going to back up on it, or use something explicit, there'll be a little thing pop up from Tinder or Bumble and say, "Hey there, Buck, you know, tone it down a bit."
I never get too explicit on there. I try to keep it tongue in cheek and use the double entendre. And I remember last summer I posted in the 1% group, like I actually cut out all the nonsense. Like the path to conversion is as quick as possible for me. And I remember there's guys in every group that'll be kind of naysayers that are good in areas of their lives that aren't in other areas. But there's one guy in particular in the group who's like, oh, same sentiment. A lot of guys have this when they don't know what they're doing. It's like, oh, complete waste of time. And I think Paul Benjamin stepped in. It's like, no, it's actually really streamlined and quite quick. So Moff and I talk about this too. A lot of guys, they'll go on dates and like they use like the mystery method rule. Oh, I got to spend 7 hours contact time. Yeah, I did that like 15 years ago. And then in my head, it was like 3 hours on a date, but the date's not going anywhere. Then it's an hour date at max. And then I got to the point, like you can just cut out the date altogether and get her right to the house. But then it was an hour to nail her at the house. But then it's at the point. So you're constantly refining the process and getting it down pat as much as possible. So I don't really get flagged or anything, which is why I was surprised when I was banned on the apps, because I'm pretty straightforward. I'm direct, but it's never overtly sexualized or anything. It's implied.
To Ross's point there, 50, you got an LTR. Did you find her on a dating app, or was that a cold approach?
No, it was the dating app. And
yeah,
I think,
same thing with me. Like that's where my LTR came from. You know, it started out as a fake situation.
Everyone's online.
Yeah.
And as someone, you know, who was married and done the traditional dating and then came into this world, if you can use the dating apps properly, I mean, you're gold. It saves you an awful lot. You're like, not only you're geo restricted by where you are, and you know, I'm in suburbia, so as I said, I'm surrounded by suburban moms and minivans with 2 and 3 in tow. But you know, with the dating apps, you're able to filter stuff down. And back to Jaron and Chris's point is guys that can't use it, guys that won't go out and spend money on a photographer, guys that won't get different, you know, that won't up their text game to just get them over to get them on the phone. There are specifics you have to do on the dating apps, and if you don't,
what about the filtered pics? How do you guys deal with the filtered pics, like the pics where they don't actually look like the picture?
Check her Instagram. If you're still unsure, get her on a FaceTime, like 1 minute to 2 minutes max, to confirm the plans, get your tonality across, to feel that fantasy more in her head, and then make sure it's actually her. Which I got that from girls. A lot of girls, another reason that my profile could have been banned, like, oh, are you fake? Because these countries I go to, nobody looks like me, and I have professional photos. So a lot of times they think I'm fake, and I'll be like, all right, we'll get on the FaceTime. And usually it's me that's kind of like, all right, I want to check this girl out too. And then the minute they see me, they're smiling ear to ear, and they're, oh, okay, yeah, I'll be over there in like 20 minutes, and they're ready to go. So add that layer into the process. If you guys are having problems with getting catfished, or not too sure if the girl is who she says she's going to be, or if she's flaking, she's not interested, you get her on FaceTime. Again, 1 minute, 2 minutes, confirm the plans, some little jokes, sexualize the conversation a bit, she'll be ready to roll.
But regarding the filters, I think a good rule of thumb is everybody you see on there, every girl you see on there, is at least 1 to 1.5 below what they actually look like in real life. So if you match with a girl, you're like, oh, she's a 9. She's probably a 7.5 or an 8.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
she weighs 10% more.
Yeah, and there's only 10% of them are going to look as good as they are or look better than they are.
And this is the thing too. I tell guys this when it comes to, like, if you're on the fence, then just say no.
Yeah. Don't bother.
Yeah. That's the best she looks.
Have some better options.
Because that's the best she's looked. Like, if that's the pictures she's putting out there and you're like, I'm not really sure if I'm attracted to her or not, then you're not. Because it's not going to be better in person.
Yeah, let's not spend too much time on the dating thing, because we've already beat it up. I mean, this dude over here, Running Up 647, says IG is the main dating app, and at that point, Moff is working on a proper course, which is going to live on my course
end of the month
offering. It's going to be available soon, and it's not going to be expensive. It's going to be super cheap. And if you want, like the rundown, just get this. It's There's a chapter on the the issues of dating online and how to use it. If you've read the book, make sure you mention on Amazon you got value out of it. If you haven't, dude, it's like you can get it on Kindle for $7. Just get it. Like stop it. It's enough.
It's online.
easy.
It's just like any sales and marketing online. So learn basic online marketing and sales principles, and then you set up a funnel and just use your dating apps as the channels. And it's super easy. Once you get it down, literally you just have an inbound pipeline of chicks coming over.
This is a story as old as time. If all pics are face pics equals abuse. Very true.
Yeah.
The line that I used to
up here.
Yeah. The line that I used to use is basically, before I met up, I'd be like, well, do you have any other pictures, showing full body? Because I don't want to be dating a floating head, right? Like you obviously have a body, so let's see what you look like. And if they got pissed off, it's because they were a whale. If they didn't, and they sent a picture, it's because they didn't want people chasing them down, just over the optics of, curves, right?
You reminded me of the time I used to work at a plant nursery, and I remember the head gardener, designer, landscape designer. People used to come in and get all these mums, the chrysanthemums in the fall, and they just grabbing tons of them. And I remember him one day just looking and going, "That's the best those plants are ever going to look." The point of sale was the best they'll ever look. They go downhill once they go out the door.
Plant nursery? Were you selling weed?
No.
I 50 Shades of Green.
I like landscaping, as I've mentioned. So
you know what?
Yeah.
I used to work in a plant nursery when I was young, like in my teens. I worked at White Rose, and that was honestly a great job. You'd get lots of sunlight, especially in the summer, so you'd have a great tan. You're picking up heavy shit. Like I remember carrying out like 5-foot park benches. Those things weighed a ton. You throw them up on your shoulders. Lots of girls working there. Lots of girls. Like always at Cash or in the greenhouse or in the garden area. Again, in shorter, more exposed clothing. If you're a young dude, go and get a job at a garden center. It probably doesn't pay much, but it's fun and, it's some good experience, right?
The city I worked in, I used to work for the premier landscape company in the city, and they'd done nothing but the highest end landscaping for the rich and famous people. We done this billionaire out of Chicago. He put $250,000 worth of trees down his driveway. And, you get to learn. Again, this is why sometimes taking jobs that aren't like top-notch jobs, you get to learn stuff. Number one, girls, but people in general, they're very impressed when you know a lot about plants and gardening. And, I remember texting a girl like last year, the year before. I said, I can't talk now. I said, I'm weeding my vegetable garden. I start getting all these incoming texts about how much of a turn on that is. A guy that can do his vegetables and his garden. It's just, it's a human skill that people need to develop.
This dude says it's ridiculous. Sorry, it's ridiculous how much different they can look with makeup angles and lighting. Dude, it's the exact same thing. If you're, doing like an in real life pickup at a nightclub or something like that, this is what they're going to look like in the morning. This is what they look like at night, right? This is what makeup does, right?
That's why you never stay the night. You only go out with them when they're made up.
Make your first date a date at a water park so it washes off all the makeup.
There you go.
Keep it simple. It's like an old crack.
I mentioned that one to guys on my channel a lot. When guys like, "Oh, she's too hot, she's out of my league." I was like, you have to remember in your head that like see through the makeup. And most girls I date, I'm actually more attractive than them. Like if you're being honest about it. But they can add 2 or 3 points when they paint a clown face on their face. But when they wake up in the morning, usually I'm like, all right, most girls I date are about where I'm at.
Well, they know. That's the thing too. Like it's why girls don't like being pedestalized, because they know all of the shit that they're doing to try to trick men. And they know all of the crazy shit that they've done for clout and for attention. And so it feels like they almost feel like an imposter when they have some guy that's like, oh my God, she's so beautiful. She's so perfect. She's like, I got pissed on in Ibiza.
Yeah. That does drive them nuts, because they know inside they're not really worth anything aside from the physical, like just a couple of wet holes. And when you treat them as something different than that incongruency or that dissonance, it really drives them nuts. They can't quite stand it. They want to be seen and treated for exactly who they are. And guys that are able to do that have a lot better experiences with girls. That doesn't mean treat them like trash, like shit either. But.
So it's fine if she earns it, but it has to be earned.
To Jaron's point about, when guys say a girl's out of your league, and this is probably the first time I discovered game was back in '93. I was in Cape Cod, and there was an Irish girl over, and she was like Catherine Zeta-Jones level. She was off the hook. Like me, I literally thought like this girl would never, like if I was on fire, she would have walked past me. Mm-hmm. And every single jock at all the parties. It used to be all over every American jock because, you know, the Irish guys weren't in a lot of good physical shape because we have we consume a lot of carbs via whatever.
Drinking.
So, but every single jock who was, you know, off from Harvard or Yale or all the Ivy Leagues was hitting on this girl all summer. And I was lit one night, and I just insulted her and her friend like all night long. I was just trying to be mega jerk. I wasn't even thinking. And then there was an event where we were all watching TV, and she sat next to me, and I ignored her for the entire night. Like, I literally pretended. I didn't intentionally do it. I was like, this chick doesn't even, you know. And then at 2 a.m., I have her on the pool table. I'm like, how the hell did this happen? I couldn't figure it out. And it's only years later, you know, listening to Rich and Rolo and that, you can put the 2 and 2 together and figure out exactly what happened with those sequence of events. You know, attention being the coin of the realm, everybody coming after her. And then, you know, she finally comes across some guy who just does not give a rat's rear.
Yeah, 100%. I just dropped the stream link if you guys want to hop in and ask a question. It's pinned to the top on YouTube only. So if you're on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, click that link that I linked above to the YouTube, sub the new channel for the podcast. This is where all my main live shows will be, you know, going forward. 100% for the Unplugged Alpha podcast. It's only going to live here. And whenever we do these meetups, you know, for these generals meeting, and Jaron hosted last week on his channel. So make sure you go, you know, sub to his channel too. Man. Yeah, let's not talk about chicks anymore. That gets boring after a while.
Yeah.
No, it does. But Rich, are you noticing, you know, we've mentioned it a couple times, are you noticing an uptick in kind of mano-swamp stuff now that COVID is over and things are opening up again? I'm just seeing a lot of stuff pop up on my feed. Go here, attend this. And it seems to be, you know, it seems to be the way fast food joints popped up or Subway stores popped up. It's just, I'm seeing it everywhere, and it's the same thing, you know. Join my community, get lots of girls, and you're perfect.
Here's the problem with the mano-swamp, and you know, you guys know that I'm working on my second book. I'm a slow writer. I just take my time and I write chapters when I feel like it. I'm going to include a chapter on the mano-swamp and, you know, what my experience has been with it, you know, for the most part. And for the most part, it's like the big problem is you've got posers and frauds in there, and it's easy to misrepresent yourself, your success, you know, with a YouTube channel. It's a real problem. And most of the creators, and I know most of the creators are, for the most part, genuinely, you know, trying to offer or to be helpful, I think. But the lives they live, you know, themselves, like, you know, when they turn off the camera and they're walking around and what they do, you know, they'll brag about a huge notch count, buy my course on pickup or whatever, but their girlfriend beats the shit out of them. Literally, like I've heard the actual conversation where they admit that their girlfriend is violent and they beat the living crap out of them. And that's just one example of many. So that's why I say, you know, there's you know, there's a simple rule that I follow. It's don't work with retards or people that work with retards. And unfortunately that disqualifies the vast majority of the mano-swamp. So it is what it is, right? Stay out of it.
You can tell with a lot of those guys. Like, I don't know a lot of them personally. I'm still pretty new, so I have had guys reach out, and I know there's drama in this space, and I don't want to be any part of that. But a lot of guys, just watching their content, you can tell when you listen to them and their attitudes. You're like, all right, well, this guy, like, yeah, maybe he gets laid, but he's not having the best experiences with women, or he's not getting the type of women he wants, because the attitudes usually gives them away. Like, most guys that are hooking up with the women that they want in their lives, they're actually very fulfilled in that department, and they don't have the, you know, F all women or women ain't shit or any of that stuff. And I used to have those attitudes too, especially when I was fresh off the divorce and still kind of sore about that, going through the anger phase and the red pill. But you grow out of that after a while, and you're like, oh, like, I genuinely enjoy women. I like being around them, and they like being around me. And if I don't see a guy that has that attitude in the space, that tells me he's probably not there yet, or at least he's not at my level. So there's nothing I can really gain from him in terms of knowledge, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. All right, what else should we hit on, man? What else do we hit on? I moved to Miami 6 months ago, and a job has been difficult. I like the city, though. Should I move to a small, less exciting town with potential to become a business owner and create money faster? I am 45. I'm not a huge fan of Miami. I don't know. Like, what do you guys think of Miami?
I have a good time there. You gotta speak Spanish though. If you're competing with the girls that are competing with rappers, you're gonna have a bad time. But if you speak Spanish, then they're yours, really. I mean, you don't have any competition, and the ESL girls are far better quality, anyways.
One of the guys in our community just moved down there. He is having a really good time. He's out in Wynwood. He's loving it. He's invited us down again. You know, I'll end up quoting the Stoic philosophers again, but it's not where you are, it's who you are. So if you're a happy dude and you have a positive outlook on life, you can drop yourself into any city. Miami has tons and tons of potential. Like you can go to Little Havana and experience, you know, just laid back Cuban lifestyle, or you can go for the glitzy bright lights, or you can go, you know, to some of the nice suburbs there.
I only have 2 points of reference for Miami. I was there maybe about 10 or 12 years ago, because we had a affiliate in my debt business that was in Boca Raton. So grabbed a car from there. I think I got a Corvette convertible, which was a fun little ride. And I drove down to Miami and I spent 2 days down there just to check it out. And it's just like most of the women there, I'm like, me personally, I'm not attracted to that kind of chick. And the second point of reference obviously is like the ratchet hoes you see on Fresh and Fit, right? They're like a bunch of 4s and 5s that thinks that they're 9s and 10s, and it's just whatever.
Yeah, there's definitely like a mass exodus, I think, going down there right now. I've enjoyed it when I've gone down, but I think you're right. I think you got to stay away from like the touristy spots, because that's not real Miami, right? Like even on Miami Beach, you're seeing people that are coming there for vacation. So you're seeing like these fat fucks from Nebraska and North Dakota or wherever the fuck are coming down here to like strut around. So you've got to know you got local places, but I've enjoyed it. I think it's a fun time. But I mean,
yeah, well, some cool people that live down there.
I always am for bigger cities over smaller cities.
Yeah, and in terms of U.S. cities, I normally say that most U.S. cities are not fun places to live. I've been to most of the big ones. If I had to move back to the U.S., it probably would be somewhere like Miami. I lived in Houston before. Houston wasn't too bad. It's just super hot. But a lot of guys, if you have the ability to do so, I would say go further south. Look abroad. If anything you want in Miami, you can get in Colombia. You can get in Panama. You can get in Mexico for a fraction of the cost. And most of the headache just goes away. So I know a lot of guys I talk to, a lot of guys I coach, they're limited to the U.S. in that mindset. But I mean, Miami's a long way away, especially I'm from the West Coast. So that's a 6-hour flight from Seattle. Well, if I'm going to fly 6 hours, I'll fly 6 hours and be in Panama instead, which is where I'm at now, or Mexico City, which is just a handful of hours, and it's just right there. And they're far better cities than anywhere you'll find in the U.S. It depends on what you're looking for, but when I have a lot of guys, I like, hey, write down a list of criteria of what you're looking for in a city or in a lifestyle. The U.S. usually isn't the answer for them.
Yeah, Miami isn't Brickell. I mean, Brickell is a purpose-built area. It's got high-end restaurants. And that's what most people experience. So it depends where the guy is. But if you have the network and the will to make it in a city, you'll do it in virtually any city.
Yeah, it's a network that you have that I would say would trump that for the most part. I mean, if you have a good group of guys that you can chop it up with, hang out with, do cool shit with, it makes a world of difference for sure.
Yeah, that was the number one. That was probably the top criteria besides things like, state income tax, stuff like that. When I was trying to figure out a place to live, leaving New York, I'm like, I'm not going to move to a place where I don't know anybody. Like I want to have guys there. I want to have dudes from the group, the 1% already that, And,
are you still going down to Florida? Did you already go?
Yeah, I've signed a lease. Like I'll be down there starting, I'm going down there like the weekend of the 15th. So I'll probably get there Friday the 15th, and then I'm there full time.
Nice.
And again, network. Like I've been invited to Miami by 1%er. I've been invited down to Texas. We've all gotten invited. And that should be another gauge for guys out there looking at the Mano Swamp. Is the person selling you his course or their community? Are they just teaching you how to do pickup, or are they teaching you need to build your network? And here's some cold hard truths on top of some advice. So if it's one dimensional, walk away.
Yeah, definitely stay away from the hot fag crew.
I'm getting a lot of guys that are DMing me, and the whole still thing about, well, I sent Rich some questions, but he never got back to me on like, why should I join the 1%? And I'm just like, dude, no one has time to get back to you.
Yeah.
Like we're busy actually doing stuff. Like, you know what? Like if you want to do it, come in and spend the money. If you decide it's not for you, I mean, like no one's gonna hold a gun to your head, man. But
yeah. Like it's either a hell yes or an F no. So it's like, you know, pick
Right.
one.
What kills me is these guys will drop over a month or two the amount membership costs on some chick that they'll chase. I mean, I said like I got value return on this group, I would say within 3 months of joining.
Yeah. Yeah, my favorite is when guys are all like, you know, I spent all this money going out on a date and I had to travel there to do it, and this is what happened, da 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 da. It's like, dude, you spent $1,000 on some thirst trap that's like, you know, trying to suck your attention and money dry that doesn't even have genuine desire, and you're asking about what am I going to get out of this? It's like, go away. All right. It's got to be obvious. It's got to be obvious. That's it. We got a lot of guys in the chat, and you know that ask a question live to the StreamYard is up there. If you guys want to hop in and chop up something that's on your mind. But yeah, this is just something that we casually do on Saturday mornings for an hour and change maybe. And
another point to that, Rich, as well. Saturday morning, where are most guys now? You know, I'll take your first three. They're either sleeping in, hungover. Mm-hmm. They had a wild night last night. They blew a ton of money on stuff. And they're going to be the same guys that'll be going, oh, why should I pay this money to join? You know, you probably paid a quarter or a third of that last night going out raging. Mm-hmm. And I do. It's something I've noticed since I joined the community. Who's up early on the weekends? It's just something my radar's up with, you know. Who's up on the weekends early?
I remember when I was younger, I used to I'd almost get mad. I'd wake up in the morning and I'd hear people at like 7, 8 a.m. out doing stuff. And I'd be like, who the hell are these people that are not hungover on a Saturday or Sunday, and what are they doing? And then at one point, it was almost sad. It got to a point where I was like, well, I wish I could do that Sunday. And now I think most of my weekends, I'm up pretty early on most days, and I'm not a big drinker anymore. But I think we'll probably go out tonight, but I'll have like 5 whiskeys maybe, and then leave at like 2 a.m. So I can still get, you know, a decent night's sleep and be up early-ish. But I remember back in the day, like especially like in the college party type years, it was just balls to the wall every night, and you'd be hungover the whole next day. And I was never able to understand how normal people do it. And then now it's the other side of the equation. We're like, how the hell are you hungover and you just waste an entire Saturday? Like smoke weed instead, and just, you know, eat and chill and fall asleep and wake up when the crows are cawing.
And Jared, to that point, I think I mentioned in past chats that's a lot of societal blue pilling. Like they tell you the only way to have a good time is to go out and go raging on the weekends.
Sober game's the hardest game ever. I tried that for a while, and that's when you know you're stepping up, when you can game a chick completely, both of you sober. That's hard mode, I think.
You ever find that cannabis ever gets in the way of productivity or like anything else, or is it like nothing that ever slows you down?
With heavy doses. So I do get to the point, like these last couple of days, I've been like kind of tired during the day, but it's been the physical thing too. Like it's been raining, it's been really high barometric pressure, and like the weather's been shitty, and allergies and pollen and stuff like that. So I think it's a lot of that, but I do find if the dosing gets higher, then it'll start to slow me down. My libido goes down a little bit too, and then at that point I back off for like a week or two, and then if I have like just a blip of the pen, I'll be like, whoa, you know, you're flying like it's your first time over again. You're like, yeah, turns out I was dosing pretty heavy, but I try to keep it pretty small. I don't smoke a lot.
Where's the this guy? Okay, so he had a follow-up here. I meant with the question that if I should stay in Miami, even though the job is very difficult, or move to a small town where the job is easier. Look, man, life is hard. You're going to have to do hard shit if you want to win. You know, if everything's too easy and, you know, easy breezy. And I mean, if you've made bank and you've made it, fine, cool, like awesome. You know, if you want to play not to lose and, you know, take it easy and enjoy the fruits of your labor, do it. But if you want to climb, you know, if you want to win, if you want to level up, you're going to have to do some hard shit, man. You're like, hard shit is a part of what makes a man. You know, don't wish things were easier. Wish that you were better. Isn't that the old line?
That's back to his point. He said, I pity the people who wish for an easy life.
Yeah.
But what they should instead wish for is the ability to deal with the crap that comes their way. And, you know, the guy's name is Miguel. He sounds like he's Spanish. He probably speaks Spanish, and he's in a predominantly Spanish-speaking city. in Miami, all you got to do is jump ships to another job, dude. A move is going to cost you. It's going to be a lease break in, figuring out a neighborhood, starting all over again. Just jump ship to another damn job.
Yeah. Here, let's grab this guy for Ferenic. He's sitting there waiting in the green room. Hey, buddy, what's up?
Hi guys, how's it going?
Good. What do you got for
Hi
us?
Rich, I found your channel about 2 years ago. It's completely changed my outlook on the world. I had the Disney fairy tale of getting married at like 25, having kids, being a young parent.
Mhm.
You've completely changed my outlook on life, so I really appreciate that. I just wanted to get some advice that I graduated high school yesterday, and I will be going to university in Amsterdam. So I live in Europe, and my parents are willing to cover my entire tuition. And I know you've said before that you don't think university in this day and age is extremely useful. So just like to have your
What are you going to
view on that.
university for?
Economics and business economics.
And like, what's your plan after you're done with that?
Well, I want to build a business. I want to be an entrepreneur. I like working with money, so on. So I want to do it eventually.
Okay, so my rule is very straightforward with like post-secondary education. So I'll just repeat it for you guys so you have some clarity. First of all, never let school get in the way of your education. Okay, so you can marinate on that and figure out what that means. I shouldn't have to explain it. The second part is if you're looking for a degree that's going to give you what you are looking to do professionally, doctor, lawyer, accountant, engineer, then go get your STEM degree. Okay, but you don't need to go to school to learn about economics or business. In fact, you're probably going to waste a couple of years of your life doing that and spend a whole bunch of money on books and courses, listen to some jackass stand in front of the classroom, lecture you on what he thinks or she thinks is the way things, should be done, filled in a room with woke ass people, with this underlying narrative to sort of, support whatever the current thing is right now. It would be better off for you to take that money or even half of that money or a third of that money and start up a business. And it'll probably fail, but you're going to learn more trying to run that business than what you will sitting in a classroom listening to some jackass lecture you on things that they think are the way they should be done. In fact, if you want to go right and get your head screwed on properly, I have a course called the School of Entrepreneurship. It opened back in April. I closed it. We're dealing with the members of that right now. They're going through the lectures and the material. I'm going to reopen the course again in August. It's in my link tree at the very top. It's going to be pinned in all the top comments of the videos. Get on the list there. You'll be notified when that opens. It's like $1,000 and change, right? You'll get more value out of taking the lectures in that course than you will listen to some dipshit standing in front of the classroom telling you how they think business should be run.
Can I offer a counterpoint, Rich?
Yeah, go ahead.
He is going to economics. I used to be married to a college professor, and economics and finance are one of the few areas that aren't full of wokeness, unless he's getting lectured by a Keynesian economist 24/7. I would recommend taking Rich's course, but what's your name? Ferenc?
Ferenc, yes.
He doesn't realize how much of an advantage he has because me and Rich are the same age. You just graduated high school and you're red-pilled already. You do not realize how much of an advantage you have going into a university setting over your competitors. You're way ahead of the game. You can go learn economics. Yeah, I wish I had known some basic economics when I started in business. But if you have an entrepreneur gene and you want to go do that, but you're way ahead of the curve being red-pilled. But just question, what height are you?
I'm 6'5".
Okay. Yeah, dude, you get yourself in shape, 6'5", economics, it's yours to fuck up.
So I'm going to drop the link here. Just get on the waiting list for my course. Honestly, it's money better spent.
I'm 18 at the moment, so unfortunately I don't have the funds to do your course. I have joined the Tate Brothers Hustles University, but the moment I get out into the workforce, get a bit of
Let me ask you a question. What are you getting from HU?
Well, unfortunately, I haven't really started it. I joined in the middle of my end of my studies, so I've only looked at the very first money-making method, which was copywriting. So I haven't
which I get 17 emails a day from people saying, hey, I can help you with your emailing, with your Unplugged Alpha store. I can help you with your course. And then it always has something like, I have a free 3 email sequence. And I end up blocking all those morons because they're like, no offense to you though, bro, because I mean, like, you're a young man, but I know that it's some 19-year-old, you know, that is just randomly hitting up people that have an audience, that have, you know, something going on, saying, hey, I can make what you have better. Again, no offense, but there's absolutely fuck all that you can teach me, right? I know more about email marketing. I'm older than everybody that's hitting me up on this shit. So if I want to email market, then I'll do it. Right. So I don't, and it's not just me, bro. It's other guys out there that are like, okay, well, I'm getting 17 of these emails a day. They're not unique. They're not special. You're not like, you don't have a special skill or trade, you know, if I'm being honest.
I understand. What I thought I was going to get from it is we're not targeting seasoned gentlemen like you who've, I mean, let's say have accomplished everything there is to life. It's, as I look around, I mean, I live in Luxembourg. It's an extremely small, rich country, loads of people, very far left, and the way they do their marketing is, I mean, from my point of view, it's extremely crap. So I feel like there's something I can actually not teach them because I'm quite young, but with my work ethic, I can actually help them quite a bit.
Well,
but that's just my opinion.
I know for a fact that none of these people will advance my agenda. They're just going to take up my time, which I don't have any interest in. Anyway,
understood.
That's my advice for you. You know, when it comes to schooling, again, don't let school get in the way of your education. And you know, if you make a priority on putting yourself first and unplugging from the matrix and actually doing things that provide value and advice, you know, like provide something for you to level up, something there like tangible, not just, you know, do this or that to make a couple of bucks here and there. I mean, Chris Amy made a good point. Here's, you know, his 10-year-old son makes $1,500 cutting lawns, right? I mean, if you're making $150,000 from taking a course or learning some new information, then it's worth it all day long, right? So ask yourself that question. Anyway,
understood,
man.
Thank you very much. Got your book, left a review. You changed my life. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thanks, man. Moff and 50 had to pop out. They just, you know, left in the private chat. They got stuff to do today. And as do Jaron and I.
Yep.
Anything you want to say kind of in closing before we bounce? I mean, like, these aren't intended to be like long ass sort of streams or anything like that. They're really just, hey, you know, let's hop in, chop it up, and hang out with the boys for a little bit.
Yeah, for that last guy, not necessarily on the university thing, because I fell into that camp too. Like, have to go to, in my family, like my grandparents were actually professors, so it was like go to college. That's just what you do. I was a good student. I was always ahead of my class, a couple years ahead in school, although they wouldn't fucking let me graduate early. So high school was a prison. I was already working by 10th grade. I wasn't even really in school by the time I was 15, 16. But in terms of that, for money-making stuff, I officiated baseball from like the age of 12 to 22. And when you start getting up into the higher leagues, like high school and college level, or like tournament teams or things like that, you can make some really good money. I remember 1 week when I was 12, I made like $700, and then I bought a DVD burner, and then I started pirating DVDs, and then wholesaling them to the popular kids at school. And I made a ton of money. I mean, there's a point last summer I was doing the minimalist thing and not really having much in the way of income. And about this time last year, I was like, God, I made more money when I was 12 than I am now. Obviously, I joined your group. I've literally 10x'd my income in the last year, and I'm looking forward to seeing what this next year holds for me. But in terms of that, like, if you're not sure on the college thing, like, you can do college and make money on the side, or like do your own little business ventures on the side. And then I know it's tough to overcome that mindset of like, oh, I shouldn't go to college. If you had talked to me 10 years ago, I would have thought like, all right, if you don't have an advanced degree, you're an idiot. I want nothing to do with you. And now I'm on the opposite side of the fence, where it's like, God, I wish I hadn't gone to college, because it was such a waste of my time. Although I did most of my school abroad, so I did get good experiences, and it opened opportunities to where I'm at now. So I definitely don't regret that. But like the actual academic curriculum, I didn't really get much out of it.
Same here. Same here. Like, I went to a post-secondary gig for a couple of years, and it's like, you know, the reason why most people still do it today, and I see this a lot, is because essentially families pushing them to do it. You're not going to become anybody unless you've gone to a school with some sort of academic curriculum, and they still believe that you need to take the economics course to understand business or to start a business. You don't. You really don't. I mean, if you want to learn about basic economics, subscribe to George Gammon's channel. He's got great whiteboard presentations on pretty much any topic you want. He's a smart dude.
So
and
just
it's free.
just back to that. Like, they're not going to teach you in college about networking. They're not. There's not going to be a whole module on building networks and social interaction.
No, it's
So
a beta factory. They just
it
teach
is,
you how
yeah,
to comply
it's a
and color
beta-
within the lines.
It's a beta factory. Just for an example, my neighbor he's an immigrant like myself. He's a farmer from Ireland. Okay. The guy's palate is limited to starches, potatoes, pastas, and meat. That's it. He is a farmer from a really rough and tumble fishing part of Ireland. I think he's up to 4 houses now, and he drives $100,000 Cadillac SUV. And his business has just exploded in the last 12 years. And, I've watched him, and there's no degree there. His wife doesn't have a degree, and they run a very solid business because he has a reputation of being, and he's got more integrity than any other building contractor I know. And that's just it. Yeah.
All right.
Well, don't teach any of that stuff.
Yeah. Honestly, guys, I mean, don't be an asshole, right? I mean, if you ask questions and you're getting some useful advice from people that know what they're talking about, do something with it. Like, all of these streams are totally free, and we're not fluffing you up with bullshit. It's straight facts, 100%. Anyway, let's wrap it up. It's too beautiful out there to be stuck inside streaming all day.
So what's that mean? There's no snow?
There's no snow, man. It's nice.
Yeah,
and sunny
is it
here.
raining?
Yeah, I gotta go
Supposed to be
back.
29 degrees Celsius today.
I gotta go vacuum the pool, mow the lawn, tend to the vegetable garden, all that stuff I hated 10 years ago.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
All right, man. So let's bounce. You guys have an awesome day. It was good seeing y'all, and we'll I'll be on this channel on Monday for the Unplugged Alpha podcast. Make sure you're subscribed. There'll be an opportunity to call in on that show again. I always do that on that show, and it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thanks again. We'll see you guys later. Peace out.
All right.